You see, everyday life has become increasingly unaffordable for Iranians. The average price of food has increased by more than 70% just since last year, and medicine about 50% in the same period. Iranian protesters have stepped up their challenge now to the clerical leadership with the biggest protest yet of nearly 2 weeks of rallies, as authorities have now cut off the internet access and the death toll from a crackdown mounted. This, as the government has said, that solving the economic crisis afflicting the country is largely out of its hands, and that while it will work to tackle corruption and price gouging, it actually has few tools to use at the moment. It has blamed the economic woes of the country on external factors, primarily the harsh sanctions placed on Iran, mainly by the West, in response to Iran's nuclear program. But you know, videos and images like you're seeing on your screens show massive anti-government protests across multiple cities in Iran, as protesters took to the streets in large numbers. As per reports from human rights agencies, at least 34 protesters and 4 security personnel have been killed during this unrest, and 2,200 protesters have been arrested. This is what US-based human rights activist agency is reporting. The movement, which originated with a shutdown on the Tehran bazaar on the 28th of December after real currency plunged to record lows, has now spread nationwide and is now being marked by larger scale demonstrations, including in the capital. The exiled Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, has called the protesters his courageous compatriots, urging them to take the streets and continue this protest. In fact, he has said Iran is facing a historic moment and has added that he is ready to return to Iran. But amid the protest, US President Donald Trump has now reacted, saying if rioters are killed, the US will strike Iran very hard.
قطعا توجه کردید که ازدحام جمعیت باعث این میشه که نیروها پس بروند و امکان ریزش رو به سمت شما بیشتر میکنن. بنابراین مهم استش که این انضباط و گستردگی رو حفظ بکنیم. من اولین فراخوان خود را امروز با شما در میان میگذارم و از شما دعوت میکنم که این جمعه و پنجشنبه 18 و 19 دی ماه را سر ساعت 8 شب همگی چه در خیابان‌ها یا حتی از منازل خودتون شروع به شعار سر دادن بکنید. در نتیجه بازخورد این حرکت‌ها من فراخوان‌های بعدی رو به شما اعلام خواهم کرد.
We certainly stand by anybody who's engaged in peaceful protests, anybody who's trying to exert their rights for free association and to have their voices heard. Obviously, the Iranian regime has a lot of problems, and as the President of the United States has said, the smartest thing for them to have done, it was true 2 months ago, it's true today, is for them to actually have a real negotiation with the United States about what we need to see when it comes to their nuclear program. I'll let the President speak to what we're going to do in the future, but we certainly stand with anybody across the world, including the Iranian people who are advocating for their rights.
My colleague Gauri Dwivedi is tracking the latest situation that's unfolding in Iran. She joins us live with a quick update of what Tehran looks like this morning and what the situation in Iran is. Gauri, paint us a picture of what's happening in Iran. What are we picking up on? And as we know, India has economic, energy and regional interests tied to Iran. So how closely is New Delhi watching all these developments?
Parmeshwar, you did point out some of the aspects that tell us and our viewers what really has happened. Some of those disappointing images that you put out for our viewers really tells the scale at which these protests are taking place. But there are 5 important aspects that I want to take our viewers through. And I want to just tell why this is something that the world is watching, and including here in India, we are watching very closely. First and most important aspect is that it's a dire economic situation right now in Iran. No amount of ideology can cover up for the fact that people are not able to buy 2 meals. That's the reason why they are on the streets. 45% is the inflation. That is what is expected. And that is what has been reported the last time. And every day it is escalating. So when people don't have food on their plates, they come out and raise chants and slogans. The second important aspect that needs to be kept in mind is that these are protests that happened last time as well. It's not like the first time that these protests are coming out. It's just that the scale is unprecedented. It has spread over now to 111 towns, big and small. Isfahan, the defining image that you had put out, is the 3rd largest city in Iran. And some protests are suggesting, some videos are suggesting that they are very close, not just to the state broadcaster, but to IRGC command centers. That tells you that they have been overwhelmed. The state machinery has been overwhelmed completely by the scale of protest that's unprecedented. The third important point is that there is now a complete internet shutdown in Iran, because this is the only mechanism they have to try and curtail this, to ensure that the international pressure doesn't come in. But that is not happening, because we, like every other channel around the world, is talking about it because it needs to be highlighted, the plight that people of Iran are feeling, because they don't have bread on their table, they don't have food on their plates, they do not, their children are hungry. That's the reason why everybody is now, and the world is focused on it. The fourth important point, Parmeshwar, that I want to highlight is that if these protests continue, the volatility in Middle East, in the region, is set to escalate, because let's not forget that this is a regime that is controlled, and it is very tightly controlled. They are not going to give up on power. If we are expecting that Reza Pahlavi is going to come in and there's going to be a smooth transition of power, that will not happen. And what will happen in the midst of that, if at all there is a power transition, will be that heightened sense of volatility and flux that will spread through the region as well. And that is what India, New Delhi, and around the world are waiting and bracing themselves for. And the fifth and most important point is, for India, there are deep economic, cultural, social, political links with Iran. So we are watching this carefully. We have a large diaspora there as well. And as the volatility, if at all it escalates, it will require some sort of a reaction from India as well. Whether there will be a reaction immediately or not remains to be seen. We are in wait and watch mode. Also, what needs to be highlighted is that Donald Trump has had a meeting with Reza Pahlavi, but he hasn't committed anything. He said that he's not the president who can take over right away. So even US is in a wait and watch mode. So I think the next fortnight or so will decide not just Iran's fate, but probably deeper linkages for the entire region.
Gauri, thanks for breaking down the key takeaways for us. So is it fair to say at this point, with economic collapse, political slogans that we've seen raised of a certain nature, and open defiance of the supreme leader, does this mark a tipping point?
Absolutely, Parmeshwar, it does mark a tipping point. For too long, the regime has just been bothered about how women wear their hair. And I think that is why there has been this kind of a backlash that has come in, because people are saying, don't bother about how women wear their hair. Bother about whether people have food on their plates or not. Look at the kind of inflation. Look at the way the Iranian currency has seen a run on it in the last fortnight or so. And that is the economic downturn and situation that even Mohammad Pezeshkian, the Iranian president who came in only last year, in 2024, did not anticipate. It's just been almost just about a year for him. He did not anticipate that this is the extent to which the economic backlash is going to come in. And that's the reason why it's coming. People are saying this is not just about an anti-hijab protest anymore. Don't bother yourself about how women should wear their hair. Bother about what you're going to do to run the country. But that is not what Ayatollah Khamenei and his regime has been doing. And that's why you're seeing these protests that are just escalating. 111 cities is what some reports are suggesting, to which these protests have escalated.
Gauri, thanks so much, as always, for breaking down all the latest developments for us. At this point, Aditya Raj Kaul also joins us this morning. Aditya, we're seeing videos despite internet shutdowns emerging. Protests are spreading into ethnic regions, Kurdish areas, western provinces. What risks does this pose for regional spillover?
Well, firstly, these are unprecedented protests, Parmeshwar, for the last 18 days. Today is the 19th day. And what we saw yesterday has been unprecedented. Thousands of people on the streets marching, campaigning for freedom, chanting slogans, for instance, long live the Shah and death to the dictator. These are essentially protests not just because of the economic downturn that is happening, but also mainly against the mullah regime. And they want a democratic shift completely in Iran. And they're expecting that some kind of an intervention will happen from US President Donald Trump. So yes, when we speak about the regional tensions, this is a remarkable, unprecedented development that's taking shape, that civil society in Iran, not just in Tehran, not just in Shiraz, but several other cities all across Iran are on the streets protesting every other day. Yesterday, the president of Iran was in fact forced to give orders that there shouldn't be any brutal force that should be used against the protesters. But still, there are clashes that have been reported. There is gunfire that is being reported. Several buildings have been charred as well, as have been vehicles of the Iranian regime. The IRGC of the Iranian regime particularly is under target, as well as the besieged forces. So as of now, Donald Trump, the US president, has also commented on this. He has said that the United States is monitoring this very, very closely. And if at all the killing fields continue, the killings of the civilians continue, then the US will be forced to, in fact, intervene in this. And looking at what has happened over the last many decades, be it Afghanistan, be it Iraq, or in the recent week in Venezuela, it does seem like that US could be forced to enter if things deteriorate, and Israel would want that. I mean, look at the 12-day war that happened a few months ago, in which US was forced to intervene in the form of the B-2 bombers that were used against the nuclear sites of Iran. So unprecedented visuals that are coming out of multiple videos, and now that the internet blockade has begun in Iran since last night. Clearly, there is a lot of worry within the top Iranian officials and the regime, and they are trying to take steps to scuttle this civilian revolution in Iran.
Aditya, thanks so much. We'll, of course, keep tracking all the latest developments emerging out of Iran with you. For now, let's turn our attention to Sadiq Amini, who joins us from Washington, D.C. at the moment. Sadiq Amini is from the Afghanistan Impact Network, a Middle East expert. Mr. Amini, thank you so much for your time. We've seen protests in Iran before. Many have failed. We're seeing dramatic visuals coming out of Tehran and across Iran this morning. What makes this wave fundamentally different, sir?
Well, greetings to you and all your colleagues and to whole Indian viewers wherever they're watching. Well, the reason that it's different is because this time we're witnessing a real revolution in Iran. This is basically the incomplete revolution of the people of Iran in 1979 that was hijacked by mullahs. This is happening again, and this time the people of Iran will complete it by overthrowing the mullahs and the dictators who have taken over Iran and Iranian sovereignty, Iranian interest, and have taken hostage the country from moving forward. And it has put them into blocks of countries, the dictatorial regimes in the neighborhood like China, Russia, and others. And basically wasted people's money and resources, and people of Iran this time will take over. And on top of that, of course, the Iranian people now have an ally in the world on the Western Bloc, particularly the United States, as the President of the United States clearly stated that an issue that existed in the earlier version of the people's resistance and people's uprising in Iran, particularly in the 2010 time when Obama was in charge, it is fixed. So how it's fixed? It's an open to calculation and assessments of what type of resources the United States has unleashed to support the people of Iran. But what we can say right now is that the U.S. and their allies are keenly monitoring every single inch of Iran. All of the commander, all of the leadership, all of the security sector apparatus of Iran is under laser focus. Any unit that opens fire on Iranian people will be and can be targeted from the skies. And so the people of Iran need to succeed, and this will succeed. And of course, the next step would be Afghanistan, to free Afghanistan from the Taliban terrorists. And I think that is the next episode that we will watch, how the people in the region will rise up to achieve their freedom.
Lens, though, what are the realistic outcomes here that we're looking at? Is it reform? Is it repression? A regime fracture? What should one essentially be looking out for in the next 72 hours?
Well, a warning has been issued to all of the security apparatus in Iran, especially the army and others, that they need to side with the people of Iran. And that's why we are witnessing an hesitation from the armed forces in Iran from opening fire against the protesters. We see elements who are tied to the theocrats, tied to mullahs, individual commanders, have opened fire on the people and have killed about 50 people and have imprisoned and have arrested more than 2,000 and others. And they are continuing to do these violations on a very small scale in different parts of the country, but that does not deter the people of Iran from moving forward and continuing their revolution. So I think what we will see is the people of Iran, with the support from the West and around the world, achieving their freedom, and the government of Iran will collapse. The theocracy will collapse, Khamenei will escape to Moscow, and all of the remaining leadership will either, they have already applied for visas for their families to Europe and Russia and other countries, so they will flee Iran. The people of Iran will take over, and we will see a democratic transition in Iran. And of course, as I stated, it's important to achieve this success in Iran because Afghanistan is next, and we need to free Afghanistan. So I hope the countries like India in the region,
keep
as
a
they're
close eye on the
what's
latest
happening in
developments
Iran,
with you, Mr. Amini. Thank you so much for your time, for joining us on NDTV. Mr. Amini there saying that he's witnessing a real revolution in Iran. It remains to be seen how this exactly plays out and how it materializes.